Today we're going to talk about the biggest games currently in development over at Xbox. But first up, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and share. It really helps the channel out. So Xbox Game Studios has grown a lot over the past few years, and if you think about it, they've came a long way. From just a handful of studios to more than 20 studios currently working on multiple titles. So they've grown a lot. So while they're working on new IP and existing IP, they're working on a wide variety of open worlds, rich, detailed worlds filled with lore and beauty. And one of those games that they're working on right now is, of course, Fable. Fable has been in development for a while now over at Playground Games, and they know how to make gorgeous, incredibly good looking games, so them putting that effort into an RPG is exciting. But again, we haven't heard about this game in a while. And Phil Spencer did say in 2018 we will have more to show later. Well, I don't think this game is that far off from being shown, to be honest. And frankly, I think it's had enough time in the oven. Now, when it comes to Playground Games, they've worked on dynamic seasons in the past. And the thing is, I have heard that we could see this possibly in their RPG. And frankly, that would be refreshing. As someone that plays RPGs all the time, having dynamic seasons would really change up the environment, especially for a game that you're going to sink a lot of hours into over time. And frankly, again, Fable coming back, especially by Playground Games, is exciting. Now, all the games you see here today are in development exclusively for Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S and PC. So if you've just bought a new next generation console, you've got a lot of big open world games to look forward to, and it's an exciting time ahead. So, back to the games. Now, Microsoft picked up Bethesda, and Bethesda have worked with a wide variety of studios in the past, one of which being Avalanche Studios. Avalanche Studios have made things like Just Cause in the past, and this Contraband game is going to be open world. Now, this game has been in development for actually quite a while. And the thing about this game is that this is going to be the most impressive game to date. This game is exclusive to next generation Xbox consoles. And given that I've played their open world action games before, this game is going to be over the top in ways you can't even believe. With a 70s vibe, of course. So that's exciting. And frankly, Bethesda's worked really well with Avalanche in the past with Rage, so I expect really good things to come out from this game. And we should hear more about this sooner rather than later. Next up, of course, we've got to talk about Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls may be years away, but the new Elder Scrolls game is going to be on a shiny new engine. And the thing about that new engine is it's going to be using photogrammetry. You're going to have all these textures that are pretty much really impressive across the board, from small rocks on the ground to stone buildings. Now, the thing about that game is, even though it's years away, that tech is going to be shared across other games currently in development right now, which is an exciting time because Elder Scrolls is really good. Now, along with Elder Scrolls, we've also had job listings for new MMOs over at Bethesda, and Bethesda is currently working on a new MMO that isn't the Elder Scrolls Online. And well, the Elder Scrolls Online is huge, over 18 million players currently, which is quite the achievement, especially for a game. This game is set to release in 2022, and well, it's going to have an open world setting. Now, this game is rumoured to be a lot like Borderlands, but in a more focused storytelling environment with a singular open world, which in my opinion is the best way to go. And the thing is, they're going to be getting help by the Doom studio, so the gameplay should be absolutely top notch, because if you've played Doom before, the gunplay is fantastic. That plus Arcane's very strange gameplay design, frankly to me, that's a really exciting thing to hear about. And considering we don't get vampire games often, I'm all for it. And I think more people need to pay close attention to this, because Arcane, they make really good games. They do. And their games just stand out because they're unique. The gameplay systems are different, and they offer games that, frankly, no one else is making at the minute. Next up we have Obsidian. Now, they have a few games in development, and one of those games being The Outer Worlds 2. Now, The Outer Worlds was pretty much a lot like a Fallout game, but mixed with Mass Effect in a lot of ways. And if you're into RPGs that aren't in these colossal sized maps, you'll like this. But the thing about Outer Worlds 2, you're going to go a lot more ambitious with it. The more refined engine. Again, this was on Unreal Engine 4, so you've got to think that they've moved to Unreal Engine 5 for Outer Worlds 2. But the thing about this game is that I've heard that there will be a lot more planets in this game compared to the first game. And considering how many limited planets there were in the first game, I'm inclined to believe this. And especially given how good that game was with what they had at the time with such a small team, I think The Outer Worlds 2 is going to be absolutely fantastic. Next up, we're going to talk about Avowed. You see, recently, over at Windows Central, Corden put up an article talking about the game, and I'll actually post the link in the description down below. It's really worth a read. Now, the thing about this game, other than being set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, this game is going to have more detail than we've seen in any game like this in a long time. We haven't had an RPG like this since Skyrim. Really think about that. Now, there is meant to be some sort of level destruction in this game. When it comes to a game with magic and castles, you've got to wonder what they'll do with quests. There's a lot more people working on this than things like The Outer Worlds. Corden did say in the article that it is in pre-production. Now, that is a broad term. He has stated otherwise on Twitter. And again, this game isn't as far out as people believe. Obsidian can make really detailed games, rich games filled with heart and story that aren't going to take 5 years to make. Look, this game is going to be really ambitious. Again, we haven't had a game like this since 2011. It's going to have a wide variety of biomes in this huge open world, and it's going to be more colourful like The Outer Worlds. Like Corden recently did say, and I've heard as well, it's going to be a lot more colourful. If you've played something like Skyrim, the whole game is kind of washed out and it's grey and it's got this blue overtone to it. Well, The Outer Worlds isn't like that. The Outer Worlds is very colourful in that, and if you're going to have that in Avowed, that makes sense. If you've played Pillars of Eternity, that's a very colourful game. Very colourful. Very beautiful game. So they're going to have that in the first person setting in the Outer Worlds 2 engine, which is, you know, modified Unreal Engine 4, or maybe 5 at that point, but what we're going to be getting on these next generation consoles is just impressive. Microsoft's gone from just having a Halo and Forza studio at the beginning of this generation with Fable Legends in development to having all these games in development by all these different studios. And frankly, as someone that wanted Microsoft to focus on RPGs since day one, they are finally at that point where they're making many RPGs, some of which aren't even announced yet. Now, let's talk about unannounced games. IO Interactive, the developers behind the Hitman series, have been making an open world dragon game for Microsoft. Now, if you've been following me for a while, I've mentioned this in the past. IO Interactive have been making a new IP for years now. Now, keep that in mind. Keep in mind all the games I've just mentioned today. Microsoft has been more receptive than ever before to community feedback, and they know that we want to see games announced and shown at events that aren't just E3. So we've seen announcements for studios and other things in the past outside of E3, and I believe that we could see one or more of these games shown this year, be it the Game Awards, XO 2021 if that happens, and or a 20th Xbox anniversary event. What I'm saying is that Xbox has gone from working on just a few games to a wide variety of huge games alone. So it's an exciting time for gamers, an exciting time for Microsoft, and frankly, if you're a gamer, it's just more big games coming, and that's wins for everyone. Anyway, if you enjoyed today's video, please hit like, share and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. I have more videos coming out shortly. I have the podcast episode 2 coming soon, and yeah, I've got a lot of exciting stuff planned ahead. If you're still listening, I want to say this, I have things planned to come out by the end of the year that's very different, but also about video games. Anyway, hope everyone has a good day. I'm out. Peace.